Hello, I'm Roll or Dinguspunch or whatever. Currently Queen Blaze over in the Discord server, and I'm going to be talking about some Blaze basics. Part of what makes her such a flexible character is how a lot of her moves are just cancelable into each other. For example, Fireball, you can jump cancel into another Fireball. Adds a lot of pressure. You can do stuff like that with your P, cancelable into Demon Flip, or into a Fireball in midair, or a Tatsu. A lot of that stuff with this character. A big weakness that Blaze has, it's kind of common in this game, but a lot of her normals are really bad. She has about one decent normal, but most of the normals are really bad, with the exception of some of her jump normals. Okay, so going over her normals, one of her big normals you gotta know is her 6H. This hits OTG. So, if it hits OTG, is an overhead, pretty decent mid-distance tool. It's pretty big. Pretty sure you can cancel into a dash. Decent, but you know, not amazing. Another one of her normals that are pretty decent to know. It used to be a special input, but now it's just her 4H donkey kick. Pretty recognizable move. You get a wall bounce off of it. Wall bounce spawns the coins. You can get follow-ups and stuff. Just gotta learn to mess around with that a little bit, and then it'll actually become a decent tool. 2M. It's okay. It's really short. As you can see, it barely reaches. You mostly just want to use it once you're in to start high-low mix-ups on standing opponents. It'll open up for Gatlings and stuff. So, if you can get that low mix-up, decent move. Blaze's longest range. Low normal is her 2H. It's a little better than 2M, but still not amazing. And on top of that, you can't really get too much unless you're very quick. You can get into a pickup with a launch. You can get into a donkey kick as well. Just gotta be ready for when that lands. Not great, still really slow, but it's better than the 2M for sure. Just a little bigger. Oh, okay, Blaze's better normals are her jump L and jump H. Her jump M is this punch, not great. Doesn't really hit too much, don't want to use it too much outside of a Gatling combo. You know. Blaze has a decent air dash, so you can use pretty much any aerial. But her L is really, really good. As it can cross up like that. Let me show what it looks like on block. So, pretty good for a decent ambiguous cross up. You can get, it's really big, it's deceptively big. And then she also pretty much gets the same thing off of her H, her jump H. It's a little harder to hit with, but puts in more hit stun. And it's about just as fast. So you mostly want to use this in conjunction with the air dash or off of a Gatling. Big point with Blaze is that her normals are not going to carry the character pretty much at all. Her only decent ones are her jump normals, but her normals are pretty bad. You really need to try and win neutral using conditioning with special moves, which is what we will get into now. Alright, for Blaze's fireballs, she has quite a few different fireballs. She has standing fireballs, so she has a light, a medium, and a heavy variant. She has air fireballs that are diagonal, which are a DP motion in midair. She also has horizontal fireballs in midair with varying speeds. That is the quarter circle motion forward. And then either light, medium, or heavy. The diagonal ones do also change in distance and speed, depending on which one you use. You can also do it out of a demon flip if you hit heavy. You will get the heavy one, of course. Another fireball out of demon flip is if you press special out of demon flip. You'll get a triple fireball. It is EX move, uses up a bar. For her diagonal fireballs, they're pretty good because they are diagonal fireballs. They hit overhead. They control a decent amount of area, especially when you combine it with super jumping. And then using it with jump canceling your fireballs on the ground, you can get really good horizontal pressure. And then with super jumping, you get these decent full screen zoning. The mid-air one is good for calling out jumps. The fireball has decent priority, especially if you shoot out a little before or like right on time with another projectile. A lot of times the fireball has a little weird quirk where it'll become stronger than another projectile. Sometimes when it's even with it, it'll become a little stronger and it'll eat it instead. The air fireball horizontally, it does stall her in mid-air, so it is a little decent at sort of like stalling in mid-air, and you can get a cross-up or a falling move if someone doesn't expect it. Worked a lot for me, even when I don't expect it. So it's a little good as a mix-up, and good for air control. Fireballs are very, very important. Alright, her next thing is her DP. She gets different DPs using light, medium, or heavy. It's the normal DP motion forward. That's light. That's medium. Heavy goes all the way up. The DP is really, really good because instead of someone calling out your anti-air and blocking it, you can DP into Fireball. You can DP into Tatsu, which if you do hit, you can OTG off of. If I can get it real quick. You can also DP into Demon Flip. So you'll have to do a DP motion backwards afterwards. Not too much after a bit of practice. You can get stuff like that. I'll cover the Demon Flip options very soon. Want to point out again that using this Demon Flip out of your DP is very important. If someone happens to block it and you're above them and they're thinking about punishing you, whatever you do, anything is pretty much better than just falling to the ground from your DP. I find that the most flexible option is to do a Demon Flip out, because if you hit it, you can hit confirm into that. If they block it, the Demon Flip into that, and the Demon Flip into medium, which is that dive kick. On block, it's pretty plus when Blaze is in midair. And if they block it and you feel like they're gonna punish you, you can just Demon Flip away from them. Even if you whiff, you can Demon Flip away with the heavy Demon Flip in midair. So definitely important to get the muscle memory in for those DPs and then backward DP motions and all of those, and kind of be able to remember what is what and associate the muscle memory with the situations correctly. This move is another staple showdown move, the quarter circle back into light, medium, or heavy. Get a Tatsu, get a longer Tatsu, and an even longer and harder hitting Tatsu. They are anti-projectile, so as long as they're out on those sides that her leg is going, they'll pretty much eat projectiles. Most projectiles should get eaten by it, and I know that on block they are mostly minus. I'm pretty sure light and medium both minus. Let me but heavy is actually plus. And it's very, very sticky, even against push guard, this will stick on people. So what's really, really good is you are able to use that, stick to people, and since you're super plus, you can set up a tick throw, or if you're punishing them, you can mix them up. You can get a low off of this, or you can mix up with a high. So, you know, basic fighting game stuff leaves you plus, you get a mix up. move is pretty good, unless you whiff it, of course. But part of Blaze is learning to stick on your opponent and really really aim well with your moves. Make sure they get onto block, because as long as you're on block, you're still in advantage a lot of the time. All right, going over her Demon Flip. Demon Flip is a fun little thing. Gives her kind of a pseudo stance. Light is the smallest arc. Medium is longer arc. She doesn't have a heavy one on the ground. They never decided to give her one, even though the donkey kick input was taken out and replaced with just a back heavy. So maybe they'll put in USSD. But she also gets them in midair. They're different arcs, and she gets a heavy one in midair. Pretty fun. She has quite a few things she can do out of it. As I've stated before, if you hit heavy out of it, she shoots a heavy fireball. If you hit light out of it, it's a little tricky to get the light one on. She does that downward punch. But she has kind of the same thing in her medium out of the stance. In that dive kick. But the difference is, if you look at midair, that'll speed her up, but the hitbox is not nearly as big as getting that dive kick, which goes all the way down and has a bunch of priority. As I've said before, you get fireballs out of Demon Flip. If you hit S, you get a triple fireball. And something they gave her more recently was Tatsu out of it. Pretty fun in certain matchups, especially with like full screen zoners that like to sit in the top of the screen. You can jump, double jump, Demon Flip Tatsu. Don't have to worry about their projectiles nearly as much. You can chase them down. So be sure to use her Demon Flip as a sort of mix-up in her approach when mixing up her zoning and her Rushdown. Alright, so her quarter circle forward into special, or quarter circle back into special. So, this will only work on the ground, doesn't work in midair, but it is her fire step. Also a pretty recognizable move. Has a pretty long startup to it. She squats down, you know, a lot of times you'll get caught out. But it is pretty fast, and it'll eat pretty much any projectile as you're going through that little arc. And it gives her a little bit of invincibility through it as well. Really good mixing up with projectiles, so you kind of get that nice little approach and don't have to worry so much about projectile wars. You'll just go through the projectiles. It's just, you know, part of the mix-up game that she has in whether or not she's zoning or approaching you. Blaze's DPS is her pillar. Pretty cool move. Has a long startup, not super practical. But it is fun to use in combos. It hits OTG, so it's an OTG pickup. And since there's a funny little interaction, this is OTG, but it'll ground bounce, and there is a 1 ground bounce per each burst. So you can ground bounce. If you try it again, it won't work. You can ground bounce, burst, and you can hit a ground bounce again like that. The Nova pillar, the pillar won't use it up. So you can pick up again OTG when using that. Nice little thing, can anti-air, you can dash cancel it, you can use it out of fire step. Not super great move, but it is pretty good when optimizing little combo runs. Okay, so bar consuming specials. Got the waffle iron. Gone over it before. Out of the DP. Press S. You also got this. Something else I already talked about. Not super practical. Kind of fun to mess around with for combos and stuff. But yeah, not super practical move, and it's really hard to get your mileage out of the triple fireball when it costs you a bar. You could have used it on something else. Okay, we're getting into our supers.
She has a DP super. Just a really big DP that's out for a long time. Do short DP input into dash or 2 buttons. Has good combo, pretty good to cash in at the end of combos. All of her supers are unscaled, so very important for her to cash in on her supers when she's doing combos. She has her quarter circle back, medium heavy. It's full screen, goes both ways, pretty damaging, pretty good. You can use it for combos in the corner. It's a good move, goes full screen, isn't great on pushback, so it doesn't hit that many times, not the greatest for chip, but definitely a useful move, especially when you're getting to the corner and pressuring people. Blaze's probably most useful super is her quarter circle forward into medium heavy or dash. It's her fireball super. Does a lot of damage, doesn't scale very much, and she has a lot of variance on it, so pretty much no matter where you are on the screen or what situation you're in, you can use a version that'll be decent for you. So she has the upward one, which sets up nicely for a combo. She has this downward one, which also sets up for a combo. And it hits OTG. Yeah, Fireball super, very, very good. Makes her very flexible in her combo routes. So pretty much anywhere you are, you can probably fit in a Fireball or two and cash in on that damage that she gets from her unscaled supers, and it'll pretty much always let you continue the combo unless they have burst or something like that. And then there's Blaze's level 3. It's the Raging Demon input. You get a Raging Demon, but this Raging Demon is dumb because you can pick up off of it and combo some more. And all that stuff. Very funny super. They recently made it hit in air again. So you can do a combo into that. Wanted to point out that there is a glitch sometimes when you hit airborne opponents, especially after the pillar. They can just not take pretty much 90% of the damage. Waffle Iron into it, pretty safe though. It'll almost always work. But yeah, definitely really good. If you have the bar, want to cash in on that burst, definitely the most damage you're going to be getting before they get their burst back, because you cannot burst in the middle of supers. And even worse, if you catch them while you've bursted on them and canceled out their burst, because then you can continue to combo out of it. So definitely important super. You can do stuff like trap people in block and then go into it, or get them in hit stun and hit them almost full screen with it. Now it's a pretty strong super. Definitely really good super for her to have. A little too good in my opinion, but you know what? I like Blaze being pretty good, so that's fine. Okay, so next I'm gonna kind of talk about how Blaze's neutral works out. There's like two very distinct styles. She's very hot and cold, so I will go into her strengths for each style individually, and then I will talk about how you would use both of them. So Blaze is one of the stronger zoners in the game. I feel like she has an incredibly oppressive fireball game. You can set up a lot on screen, make it really hard, give them like no options. And if they happen to get caught not blocking, or they crouch block on an air fireball, you can just run over and take advantage of that. Or if the opponent is having trouble dealing with it, you can just keep doing this. for a really long time. And you can mix up air dashes. You can mix up the different speeds. And as I've said before, you can kind of mix in dashes or demon flips into it. Another thing about Blaze's fireballs full screen is that they're very, very plus on hit, as you can see, and on block. They're still pretty big. Because by the time she's down and they're traveling down and they gotta stop to block it, you're super plus. So part of the reason why it's so effective is even if they're blocking it, they're getting stuck in block stun, not having a fun time, and they're taking chip damage. So very, very good for making the opponent antsy. Make them start running into your fireballs, mixing them up, make them start running into your hits. Be sure to learn how to use your fireballs if you get a chance. Remember that if there's another projectile user fighting you, it's really good to use these horizontal ones. You can put out a ton before having to land. So she has a very versatile zoning game. One of the best, in my opinion, in the game. So definitely something you'd want to learn and take advantage of. Next, I'm going to talk about a bit of a Rushdown. I talked about her moves a bit. You can open them up with a low, or this really bad low right here. Use both of those bad lows to try and open them up low. Your main source of overheads are going to be the jump air dash into her light or heavy, or if you're feeling spicy, you can just waste a ground bounce on that, or if you think they're gonna jump, you can hit them with this. Very big, catches pretty far up. Another good overhead. She has a lot of tools in order to keep herself plus in a sort of block state and keep her sticking on the opponent. Good move I didn't get to talk about too much other than saying it was bad is if you're really, really close, you can demon flip L, and that is really good. The main source of her rushdown in this game is being plus from moves and then conditioning people to either respect your plus frames, allowing you to continue your mix-ups or get tick throws. So this giant plus 30, ridiculous number. What am I going to do with 30 frames? Another move that she has that is very plus on block is that heavy Tatsu. Can also throw out of that. Or if they're respecting your plus frames, you can go for mix-ups. And then another good tool is the demon flip into medium. That is also plus 18 on block. So you can also use this as mix-up time. So a lot of it is getting them to respect you, block, and then you just go in with an impressive offense, air dash. You can fire step back in if they're pushing you really far back. Tatsu to stick on them, probably your best tool to stick on them, honestly. If you feel like they're starting to push you back far away, you can try and heavy Tatsu into them, try and stick to them if they're not jumping away. But yeah, about using, definitely want to abuse whatever she has. It's very, very plus. And that even goes for her fireballs. Her fireballs are very plus as well. So you can use all her little tools that she has to rush down. Keep them blocking, keep them guessing the entire time. Very strong rush down. I want to also say that in terms of her rush down, she has another good tool. Another thing I wanted to talk about was Blaze's TP. You can use it really well in both situations when you're zoning, trying to reset neutral, so you can get the zone and get some distance. You know, it's a really good get off me because it's a DP, but you don't get punished nearly as much for it. A little plus if you do the falling Tatsu outside of it, or out of the DP. But you can also use it for pressure, you know. You can Tatsu out. If you hit someone when you do the DP into Tatsu, you can OTG off of it, and you get your full combo. Alright, you just need to remember to get that OTG if you do happen to do the Tatsu out. You can also do the safer Demon Flip into M. But yeah, DP into Tatsu, DP into Demon Flip M. Definitely moves you want to be doing in both cases. It'll help you stick on them even if they're blocking. And do DP into Fireball. You know, you got a lot you can do in terms of pressure. So, DP very, very, very important move. Be sure to use it a lot and make people a little mad. I want to talk about another opportunity she has for Okazeme and her Rushdown game is that since she has such a good projectile, a lot of characters have pretty whack wake-ups, but she can kind of cover their wake-ups with those, making them really, really safe. I don't think anyone has a frame 1 invincible reversal in this game, except for maybe some supers, but yeah, her Okazeme game, very good because of her little flexible projectile that she's got there. So be sure you're using those fireballs and cheesing people out of their games. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how Blaze, mostly in most matchups, you can use any polarizing sort of good playstyle she has in neutral. You can abuse her Rushdown against people who don't know how to deal with it, or you can abuse her zoning against people who don't know how to deal with that. But against most people that will understand how to kind of beat one or the other in a no-brain spammy situation, you gotta kind of learn how to transition between hot and cold. So very common scenario. Blaze is spamming fireballs. You can just stop. You can get dash-ins. You can fire step. You got a lot of tools to use. Very, very versatile character. You can even do mix-ups from almost full screen. Trying to get them. Really good thing about that is that when you switch between zoning and going in, kind of covers her approach really well. So even if they do hit you, they're going to be trading with your fireball a lot of the time unless they're using something that can delete them, which isn't great because that puts you in a ton of hit stun on hit, and it puts you in a pretty decent amount of block stun too. So it'll keep you safe from a lot of things. Yeah, big part of Blaze's game plan is making sure you're zoning, switching up what you're doing, going from Rushdown into zoning, into Rushdown, and moving around like a crazy person. Just be all over the place. Either you can adapt to what they're having trouble with as a player, or you can try and mix them up yourself. Try and get them with whatever, with the overload of information Blaze can put out. She got the Gatling. Everyone got it. Hers is no different. Has fun little things, you can do DP to start your combo. You can start comboing off of DP, get it going, take a Tatsu drag down, and with that very flexible fireball, you can just keep your combos going. Remember, be sure you're using your super fireball, especially if they're not getting burst back, because it'll keep them OTG. So you can get an OTG pickup easy peasy with Blaze, especially since she has that new 6H. Thing is ridiculous. Remember, you can convert off of anything. No one is safe from anything, especially those DPs. The only case you're not getting a DP into a combo is if you're anti-airing them really hard, like they're up here and you're catching them at the end of your heavy DP or something. That will not combo. But you can try and pressure them if you Demon Flip Tatsu. Sometimes it'll be enough to put her far up enough that she'll catch someone, drag them down, and then be able to use the pillar to pick them up OTG. Like that. So you can keep your combos going. Another combo tool she has, it's pretty fun to use, is her donkey kick. You know, you can do donkey kick into fire step. Very easy, basic stuff. Pretty good thing that'll work on most characters with a pretty open window of timing is donkey kick into heavy fireball. Since the ground fireballs are cancelable, you can donkey kick. You can cancel. You can jump cancel it, dash in. You can use a second fireball. My personal favorite is a funny little glitch. Not so much a glitch, just because of how it's coded, but you can fireball and you hit them with the vacuum cleaner. Very cool. Donkey kick's definitely one of the cooler combo tools to use. It is a little harder because it's slow, so you gotta kind of know. But you know, that's what the lab is for. You experiment a bit. You do your research. You conduct research. Just make sure that you're using your OTG tools, right? You're using that. You're using that. Make sure you're using your fireballs. Another big thing is that Blaze almost always will have at least a bread and butter, right? Because you can ground bounce them at the beginning, but you can Tatsu drag down into your fireball, and then you can pick them up from there, or you can start your donkey kick setup. Got plenty to do. Very open-ended character, like many of the characters in this game are. So I encourage you to take her into a lab, find something cool you can do with her. Because she is such a flexible character, you can get combos off of pretty much anything in this game. I did want to point out, there is a mechanic, you know, most people should know if you don't know. If you burst someone mid-combo, it'll take their burst. You saw for a second, this is in training, it goes away faster, but his burst kind of gets X'd out. Yeah, that timer is for how long he cannot burst out of the combo. So you get your free combo. Blaze has a pretty good pickup in midair. That wall bounce is techable. Most wall bounces are techable. So this is no exception, but if you get it, if you use a heavy demon flip in midair, you can follow up with good timing. You get a dive kick. You can keep your combo going. Not too hard, just takes a bit of time to kind of learn the timing, but once you get it down, really hard to mess it up. Even if they do happen to tech it, it's still good pressure. Most characters can't act out of wall tech that fast. You know, some characters will. There's some pretty good characters. I think the people who play those characters know who I'm talking about. But yeah, that is her burst pickup. She has one on the ground. Not nearly as reliable. It's kind of hard to get. Pretty tight. Let's see if I can.
2,000 years later.
Yep, that's it. So that's off the ground. You know, she's very versatile. She can get you out of anywhere. That's a big strength of hers. Her combo game is very strong. Her zoning game is very strong. Her Rushdown's really strong. So many bases covered. She has very little weaknesses other than that mid-range. So be sure you kind of keep them at those polarizing ends, mix it up. Very important you do that. That's it. I'm going to show a bit of combos, and I'm going to close out the video. and roll. Twitter is @Francisco Tacos or Dinguspunch. Really hope that you found the Blaze Guide helpful. Really want to keep the new players around, want you guys to get your footing and stuff for a lot of the characters, so working on a bit of a guide series with the people that I can. Still roll in the Discord, so if you've ever got questions or whatever, you can hit me up, or we can just talk about combo routes or whatever you want. Alright, really hope you enjoyed the guide, hope you found it helpful. I will see you around. Adios.